What's up, everybody? It's your favorite obscure exclusives favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Fans Hobby Hangman, which was a recent exclusive at a convention. More importantly, it's on loan to me from Richard H, so I want to make sure I take care of it and get it back safely to him. However, we've looked at this mold before here, so we're going to go in reverse transformation so that both methods are covered on my channel. That being said, before we can do any of it, we got to start with accessories. So you get a set of these, meaning 2 green missiles, 2 gold launchers. The missile will fit in there, but it is a tight fit, and I think it's because they didn't maybe totally account for the gold. There it is. I'll give you another example here real quick with this gold tab here. Inserting into the wing, tight fit. Once again, it goes, you'll get it, but it doesn't give you the warm and fuzzies when you do it. Then, if you take this and you find this handle underneath, you can flip that down. You'll notice a groove system. That groove corresponds to a groove in the palm of the hand. These are really tight fingers, so to speak. Let me get them out of the way. And then slide the gun down the groove in typical kind of Fans project, Fans hobby, and make toy stylings, and it holds like a champ. And then you get this fella. I think he's a Powermaster because he turns into an engine. I think that's how that works out. He's got a little hawk face, little blue visor, little gold beak there. The arms are on these little pegs here. They'll get you out to there, and then 360 around until you bump it to the backpack. There's an elbow joint that gets you like 10 degrees. Little blue accents on the chest. The hips are basically universals, but they're makeshift universals, so you had to turn them to the side to get the outward movement, so not the most elegant, but you can get forward and back. A 90-degree knee, silver paint on the kneecaps and on the toes there, and then to transform it, just make sure that the hands are down by the waist, turn the legs backward. You want the fist to go into the back of the thigh, and the shoulder peg to go into the back of the heel. On both sides. Then you have the engine, to which you can take your jet here and open up this flap. There's 2 pegs there, and 2 ports for it. And just make sure you have it oriented the wrong way. Never won a 50-50 in my life. And tab that in, and then you can just double hinge this and sit it on top. You know, or there even is nice. You can take this off as well. There is a C-clip connection, but I don't advise ever doing that. And lastly, you get these 2 flight stand adapters, and they are slightly different, but they're just gray plastic. This one here with the wider clips is going to go at the back. There's little notches on the back of the thigh. Just make sure that you have this oriented properly. I'm not sure if it even matters. There, that'll clip in there, and then this one moves to the front and clips into the front of the chest. I think I had that backwards. There, and then you can use their flight stand, I think, to peg that in and then have it flying if you so desire. Let's take a look at the figure, and we'll get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. So we got gold paint on the face, which looks fine. Actually, it looks good. And then we have green paint on the eyes that looks fine. Actually, that looks good too. It's hard to tell, but the eyes are actually, I think, sculpted. I thought it was just paint over flat plastic, but I think it is actually sculpted. So that's better than I thought. There's a hinge and a ball peg at the head. Using both, you get the head up to there, which works great. Down is perfect. Swivel. I don't know if we're going to count that. Shoulders. We have a hinge inside of the shoulder mount here. We have this panel that'll get out of the way to get you up past 90 degrees. And then 360 around. The engineering is in there until you start banging up against the backpack. You can get it out of the way. It's up to you. We have gold paint once again on the shoulder. We have a bicep swivel. We have a single hinge elbow that gets you 90 degrees. We have a little bit of turquoise paint there, or aqua paint there on the forearm. A little bit of gunmetal on the forearm as well. Nice sculpted detail on all 3 elements of the arm. Wrist swivel. Thumb is on a base ball peg comes out to a secondary hinge. The other fingers are on a base pen knuckle and then come out to a secondary and tertiary hinge. So well done hands as well. No issues there. You also have a little bit of a butterfly joint, both forward slightly, back better. Back out a little bit more. Waist swivel. Not a full waist swivel, but I think more than you'll ever need. The detailings in the jet, the blue looks good. You know, they're hidden in robot mode, in jet mode, which is kind of clever. All right, and then we have the hips themselves. So they're universals. You got hip skirts out to the side. You can get out to about there. Forward and back to there. Thigh swivel. All of the kind of... So that's the second time that this has popped off on me. It's this back wing piece. Not great. All these like little turquoise paint elements look good. The silver looks good on the hips as well. And then we have a single hinge knee that gets you 90 degrees. Blue paint on the lower legs. We have the silver, gunmetal silver that sits in on the knee. The feet have ball pegs that'll get you an ankle tilt down. Not really an ankle tilt up, but a rocker. So kind of standard issue in terms of what we've come to expect from this mold. Nothing that kind of, does anything really, kind of new and crazy. But if you like the aesthetic of this, I think it's kind of fine. Let's take a look at him next to some others. I don't have anything that necessarily makes a whole ton of sense for him to stand next to, but in case you were curious, there he is next to MMC Rodimus, as well as a Masterpiece car, which hopefully gives you some sort of an idea as to what you're working with. There he is next to an old Seeker, so he's about a half a head bigger than a Seeker. That should probably give you a better idea. Once again, final thoughts wise, we're going to go in reverse so that both ways are covered on the channel. We can get these arms out of the way so they turn, and then the forearm collapses over it, and then the whole arm collapses inside of the bicep. So same on this side. Forearm extends over it, and then the whole thing will collapse inside of the whole canister here, for lack of a better term. Untab these chest pieces here from your shoulder pieces, which will allow you to move the shoulder pieces down. And let's see what else we can do. Tuck away these heels. And we can untab this back part of the plane here. It's connected down here at the bottom, and it's an ornery little tab, but there it goes. And then all of this stuff can start rotating around, including these two little side panels here, which you can actually get a significant amount of torque on, and it feels like a pretty thin piece of plastic, so just use a little bit of caution. And you can rotate this fin around here. These pieces also need to come up. I always forget they're on the side of the leg. And then I think that's it. You can connect these legs together. And, oh no, we got one thing more to do in the back here. Open up these panels and then just flip the feet in. And then you can close those panels up. Then we can disconnect. The legs are going to sit like that, so you might as well get them ready. This is going to come down, and we got to get this head on through. This is the one trickier component of all this. So you can bring this out. This gray piece here on the back of the flap needs to come up, and then the head needs to come through onto this side. All of this. Oh, God, here's another piece that falls off, man. Like, it just feels like we've seen the end of this mold. I'm just gonna leave that to the side. I gotta get it. I'll get it. I'll be back right back. Okay, I got it back on. So anyway, tuck the head in. And tuck this gray piece in. This gray piece double hinges. Sits up against the back. The head needs to fit up in there. And then you can start closing this up. I gotta get this landing gear out of the way. Oh my God, dude. Let me put this back in. There, I got it back in. And then collapse all this stuff. The nose cone. And then these two flaps here close. And then this sits along the underside. And that all tabs in. And then these wings come down. This comes down. This has got to get underneath of these arm pieces. And then the bottom of the wing here, which is this piece that also keeps falling off. If yours falls off, there's two grooves down there that's like a good place to look. There we go. There. I'll clean it up. I'll get this piece put back in and we'll take a look at it. Like, this has got to sink in a little bit deeper, but that's the basic steps. It's just like the toy's falling apart. It's falling apart while I'm handling it. Like, this should have been glued on. I'm guessing it was. I'm guessing that's why that's discolored there, but it should have been glued on more better. I guess more better. I don't know how else to say it. Better. Yeah, I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. All right, so let's take a look at alt mode. And I like it, even though it's very plain plastic. I think because it's so bright, it actually has a little bit of presence to it. The blue paint is on there, sharp and clean. The lightning bolt. This use of like a yellowish green translucent with the kind of details underneath, that works for me. Gold thruster at the back works for me. Underside, half a robot. But, you know, what are you going to do? There is a landing gear option back here. You just got to open this up, which is not the most elegant. Bring out the landing gear, extend it, and then you can close that. And then, where is the other one? Is it back here? It was back there. I just couldn't get to it. There they are. And then, you know, and it'll roll just fine. And I think that that's okay as well. And then you have Tiger Tracks for comparison. I think it's a pretty effective jet, man. Honestly, all things being considered, I think they did a pretty good job with it. 65. Final thoughts-wise, we'll start with the negatives, and I don't know if it's a mold thing, I don't know if it's a fans hobby thing, I think it's capable of being both, but it's starting to feel a little cheap. Plastic parts falling off of the wings, just some of it feels rickety, some of the ratchets leave a bit to be desired, something, you know, just stuff like that. That's my big objective criticism here. Subjectively, I'm not crazy about the proportions and the aesthetics of this stuff. I think the torso's too long and the lower legs are too short, and it kind of has like, I don't know, it's just not for me. There's some other objective articulation limitations though. 90-degree elbows, 90-degree knees, you know, limited waist swivel. It should get you what you want, but it is limited. Stuff like that. It's not terrible. It's not terrible at all, but it does feel or leave you feeling like you've been kind of wanting a bit more. And I think part of that is just coming down to the quality of the feeling of the toy at the same time. Positives wise, the paint is very clean. There's not a ton of it, but it's very clean. All those like turquoise accents, all of the blue stuff that's both in the chest, on the wing layout, as well as on the shins, all that stuff works well. Fully articulated hands. You got a little bit of shoulder, bilified joint, fully articulated hips. There's enough here to get you by. There's just nothing special about it, and it feels a little rickety. So I think this is going to come down to how important this character is to you. If this character is important, I recommend go ahead and getting him. If you're expecting this to compensate or to overcompensate for your lack of appreciation or understanding of the character, I don't think this is going to do it for you. So it kind of depends on how you feel about the character to begin with, and I think that you'll be all right as long as you move accordingly. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.